Get her down.
Let's have one.
All right. Hey-o. All right. Welcome, friends and family, to the Conscious Contact Group of Alcoholics Anonymous. My name is Eric, and I am an alcoholic. This is a 1-hour speaker meeting that meets every Saturday evening at St. Paul's Lutheran Church, 301 North Main Street at 8:30 p.m. in Doylestown, PA. We record all speakers so that others may benefit from their message of recovery. If you wish not to be recorded, simply ask. This is an open meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous. The group would like to welcome everyone, especially newcomers. Is there anyone new or from out of town that would like to introduce themselves with their first name?
My name is Porgy and I'm an alcoholic.
Porgy, welcome.
Hi, I'm Mike and I'm an alcoholic.
Mike, welcome.
Hi, I'm Judy. Visiting from Clearwater, Florida.
All right, welcome. Welcome. Alexa, welcome. All right, anyone else?
Over here.
Yeah, over here.
I'm visiting from Gaithersburg, Maryland. My name is Alec. I'm an alcoholic.
Alec, welcome.
I'm Nick. I'm alcoholic from Boston.
Nick, welcome.
Hi everyone, my name is Joe and I am an alcoholic and my home group is Miracle Group in Bristol, PA.
All right, welcome.
Ashley, alcoholic. Hi.
Ashley, welcome. Anyone else? I want to scan the room just so I know. Okay, yeah.
Leanne, alcoholic.
Leanne, welcome. Welcome, everyone.
My name is Nick, I'm an alcoholic.
Nick, welcome.
Alcoholic named Shepherd, my home group, South Philly group.
Welcome. All right, to kind of move it along, I just want to welcome everyone. And if you have any questions or would like to make this your home group, please see me or any group member after the meeting. The Conscious Contact Speaker Group encourages sponsorship. When anyone with working knowledge of the 12 steps and is willing to sponsor, please raise your hands. Wow. Very cool. Okay. Are there any announcements for the good of AA? All right. We have meeting lists and big books on easy terms. Please see me or any home group member after the meeting. If you cannot afford a big book, the Conscious Contact Speaker Group will give you one at no charge. Anyone willing to make donations for the purchase of big books and CDs to help those who can't afford them can put donations in the jar on the table marked Big Book and CD donations. If you would like a CD of any speaker past or present, see me or Ron after the meeting. They are available free of charge. We always need help, so if you would like to get involved with this meeting and group, please see me or Ron after the meeting. And I'd like to welcome Mr. Tim to read the preamble.
Thank you. Thank you very much. This is an amazing turnout. Hi guys, my name is Tim and I'm an alcoholic. The Preamble. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength, and hope with each other that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organization, or institution. It does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. If I could, I'd like to introduce Ashley to come up, please, and speak.
My name's Ashley. I'm an alcoholic. The 12 steps. We admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. Came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. Made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. Admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. We're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. Humbly asked Him to remove our shortcomings, made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all, made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others, continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. And 12, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. Thank you.
Thanks for reading. And The seventh tradition, every AA group ought to be fully self-supporting, declining outside contributions. At this time, I would like to pass the basket. We have no dues or fees, but we have expenses, coffee, cream, donuts, rent, big books, and CDs, etc. There's absolutely no smoking on church property. It's been a problem in the past with people throwing cigarette butts out in the trash indoors. So the church has made it very apparent that we don't smoke on the actual property. So usually you'll see me or anyone else, we're outside on the side street smoking. So if you could just respect that, that would be great. Please silence all cell phones and limit movement during the meeting to avoid distractions. And without further ado, a good friend of the Conscious Contact Group, we have Dave P. from Boston.
Hello, everybody. Hey, I'm Dave Perry. I'm an alcoholic. Hey. How cool is it to be back out here? Thank you so much for the invitation. Since Ron such a contacted me and set up this date, I've been excited to come back out, see a lot of old friends. I consider it an honor and privilege to do anything for Alcoholics Anonymous, to be honest with you. And to be able to come back out here to Doylestown and spend a few minutes with you tonight is a huge honor and privilege, so I want to say thank you. And I also want to thank my buddies Pete, Chris, and Nick, who jumped in the car with us tonight. This morning, really, coming out of Boston. You know, Nicky's a couple weeks sober. He might not be taking this podium tonight, but he's carrying a message. Drove 5 hours with me driving. My sponsor always says, out of respect for God, you people, and alcoholics in general, wear a suit and a tie, wear that jacket up to the podium. But he really never said anything about keeping it on, so since I know I'm going to get warm, I'm going to take it off now. Slide over here. Wow. What I feel in this room tonight, you guys, what I feel right here, right now, I haven't always felt in Alcoholics Anonymous. I didn't always feel this way. When I came to Alcoholics Anonymous for a long time, for the longest time, I'll tell you, Alcoholics Anonymous, you know what's to me? It was a meeting I didn't want to attend, the group I refused to join, the book I didn't need to read, the sponsor I found no use for, and the steps I refused to take. I thought for the longest time, you know what I thought? I thought you guys were going to show me how to suffer in sobriety one day at a time. You can suffer one day, not a lifetime of suffering, Dave. Can you do this just one day at a time with us? Just grab a seat and suffer along. And that's not what you're telling me. That's what I was hearing, I know today it's not that at all. I know what alcoholics, thanks to God-inspired sponsorship. Here's what I got today. Alcoholics Anonymous is nothing but the showing up business. Alcoholics Anonymous is nothing but the making it available business. Alcoholics Anonymous is nothing but the message delivery business. That's all we are doing here. You boil it all down, the seats, the coffee, the setups, the podiums, and everything else that we do is all designed to do one thing, our primary service and our primary purpose, to carry a message. My sponsor is nothing but paper boys and paper girls for God. That's all we are. Paper lady, paper mister, just showing up he writes it, we deliver it. It's really that simple. He writes it, we deliver it. And my sponsor knew me. He says, Dave, I know what you're about. Hear me now and understand what I'm going to tell you. We're not in the results business. We're not in the outcome business. We're not in the keeping score business, Dave. Put the scorecard down. You don't get them sober. You don't get them drunk. You're not that powerful. You know what I mean? Your job is simply to show up and try to carry a message. That's all we're asked to do. Simply show up and try. Look at our 12th step. Having had a spiritual awakening as it's the result. It's not one of many, something that might happen if we're lucky. Having had a spiritual awakening, that is the result of taking these steps. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message. The 100 men and women who wrote this book, who put those steps together, and who wrote them down in 1938, did not have to put the word try in there. They could just say, we carry this message to other alcoholics. No, they say try, because that's all we're asked to do. Let me explain this to you. I understood this so well when a man a decade ago came into Boston one time, came into my home group. 2003, 2004, I'll never forget this guy. He steps up to the podium, he says, I've been sober 20 years, and in my 20 years of sobriety, he says, I sponsored over 200 men, he said, 200 men with a 100% success rate. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. All my guys are drinking. How are you doing that? He goes, no, don't get me wrong, a lot of my guys are drinking. Matter of fact, some of them are dead. But I've been happily, joyfully sober for these 20 years, and I call that 100% success. Get it? He showed up and tried. Bill Wilson ran around for 6 months coming out of the town's hospital in 1934 before he met Dr. Bob, helped over 100. None stayed sober, but he did. Thank you, Lois, for pointing that out. All we have to do is try. My sobriety date, November 15, 2001, a little over 13 years, 8 months, and a couple days ago I came back to Alcoholics Anonymous. And I say came back, I'd been here before. November 15, 2001 is not my first sobriety date. Collecting them for years prior to that, you know what I mean? Reset, reset, you know how that goes, right? Prior to November 15, 2001, you guys, I'll be in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out of Alcoholics Anonymous, 12 years. Chronically relapsing, couldn't understand what you guys had, more often not, didn't want what you guys had. I'm here simply and solely because some force in my life has me here. At first it was my job, then it was my family, then it's the courts that are in my life. And I'm running for cover to Alcoholics Anonymous, getting them off my back here in Alcoholics Anonymous, just coming by here. You know, I don't want what you guys have. I don't even know what you guys have. You guys aren't drinking on purpose. What's that about? You know what I mean? Couldn't figure that out. You know? Every stretch of sobriety I had, every stretch that I had during that 12 years, whether I stayed sober a week, whether I stayed sober a month, whether I stayed sober a year, or at one point 3 years, every stretch of sobriety I had during that 12-year period was all marked by the same commonality. I was miserable. Wouldn't tell you that. Hey, Dave, how you doing? Super great, fine, you know. No. Miserable. Truth be told, I'm suffering. I'm dying in here is what it was. Sentenced to Alcoholics Anonymous. That's what it felt like. Sentenced to sobriety. This is a prison sentence. You kidding me? Life was good once. What happened? If all I have to look forward to is hot coffee on cold metal chairs hiding out in church basements the rest of my life, oh, shoot me now, you know what I mean? I'm not going to make it. I was a meeting maker who didn't make it. I wasn't making it. And I saw all your signs, my God, live and let live, let go and let God, one day at a time, easy does it. Then I saw the one side that made sense. Exit, boom, out the door. You know? There it is, that's the one. Oh yeah, I'll do that one. I'll take that sign, thank you very much, you know. And I know how to get sober. Oh my God, I know how to quit drinking. That's not my issue. Done it 1,000 times. I got that down. I can quit drinking anytime. Can you guys show me how to stay quit? Can you guys show me how to not start again? Or better yet, can you show me how to stay quit and stay comfortable doing it? That's my problem, you guys. I can get sober. And I can come to your meeting. And I can grab my coffee and I can take my chair night after night after night after night. But unless I get comfortable here, to be quite honest, I ain't staying. Can't. There's comfort waiting for me. It's in a bottle. And I know it's outside the door. And if I'm not getting it here with you, I'm going to get it out there in that. And trust me, keep in mind this one thing. I'm not doing anything you're doing. Your actions, I'm not taking those. I thought if I sat next to the happy, shiny people in here, I'd get what you got. It didn't work that way. Look, I didn't get drunk watching the guy next to me drink. What makes you think I'm going to find my recovery watching the guy next to me take action? Well, I take none. I saw your meetings, that's action. Is that enough? My God, I'm coming every night, grabbing my coffee, taking my seat. Is that not enough action? No, it's not enough action. Not if you want recovery. You want to get sober? Yeah, maybe. My sponsor says, but there's not the action we're talking about. Burning my life to the ground twice over during this 12 years, losing everything good, anything that meant anything to me, anything worthwhile in my life, anything that meant anything to me in my life, I'm watching it disappear in front of my very eyes. Those 12 years were hell. In and out, in and out, in and out of here. Chronically relapsing. The one thing in this world that seemed to give me any kind of relief was in a bottle, however short-lived it was. But I was getting relief, however short-lived it was. And the one thing that's giving me that little bit of relief is also the one thing that seems to be destroying everything good. And I don't know what to do. And I'm lost, and I'm alone, I'm suffering, and I'm frustrated, I'm confused, desperate, hopeless, And that's the way those 12 years would be, in and out, in and out, in and out. But here I stand tonight, 13 years, 8 months, and a couple days away from my last drink. And I didn't grab my buddies up this morning and drive all the way out here to Doylestown to lie to you. Just so we can get back in the car. Yeah, fooled them tonight, didn't we, Nikki? Yeah. Fooled Doylestown. Yes, we did. I'm here to tell you the truth. And the truth of the matter is this. I've been happily, joyfully sober for the better part of these last 13 years, 8 months, and a couple days. Happily, joyfully sober in Alcoholics Anonymous. Before it was like, make up your mind. Happy and sober, same sentence. I can't get that together. You know what I mean? This time around it's happening. Set free in Alcoholics Anonymous, free from the obsession to drink, drug, free from the obsession to self, set free. How is that possible? What is it that has me standing here with you guys tonight, reporting to you the truth of the matter to be simply what I just said? Set free in Alcoholics Anonymous. My experience these last 13 years is so markedly different than the 12 years in and out, in and out, in and out, burning my life to the ground, suffering. How? What marks the difference? What am I doing this time around that sets me so far apart? It comes down to one word and one word every time I speak. Sponsorship. Sponsorship. This time around I got a sponsor. God inspired, God centered, God driven, God God conscious, God reliant, God conscious through the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. A guy wasn't afraid to tell me the truth for the first time we sat down. A guy looked me in the eye and said, I don't care what you think, I don't care what you feel. If what we do along this way, when we're taking these actions we call these 12 steps, if what we do along the way makes you a little uncomfortable, Dave, makes you a little uneasy, hurts your feelings, he says, so be it. He said, I'd rather step on your toes before I stand in your grave. I'm going to tell you the truth. You've been lying all your life, and people have been lying back. It's about time you heard the truth. And he said, the truth of the matter is this. It's a program for the people who want it. Needing what we have, God knows I needed what you had. I needed what you had for 12 years running, I needed what you had. But unless I wanted what you had, needing it would mean absolutely nothing. There's things to do. You know? My sponsor looks at me, and he goes, you think a drinking problem, Dave? You don't. You think you got a little problem with cocaine, Dave? You don't. Little problem with the judge, your boss, your family, you don't. You got one problem and one problem. You want to tell you this, Dave? You want to know your one problem and one problem only? I'm going to tell you what it is. You're selfish and you're self-centered to the core, and unless you look at it, address it, examine it, and take action on it, you're not going to recover. You're just not. You're just not. You want to sponsor? I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'll sponsor you, but let's just lay it out right here. Let's tell you exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this. Simply this. I'm going to take your hand. I'm going to hold your hand. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you down this path. I'm going to ask you to trust me. I'm going to walk you down this path. It's a pathway to power. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take your hand and put it in the hand of a power greater than yourself. Then I'm going to step aside. I'm not going to go home and stand in front of the mirror and admire what a wonderful job I did with Dave Perry. I'm going to go out and get me a new guy right away. And I'm going to teach you how to do the same thing, because that's the one single sole thing that's going to save your life. I'm not the kind of sponsor who says, I'm not the kind of sponsor going to tell you how to run your life. I'm not the kind of sponsor to tell you which means to go to, not to go to, where to sit, not to sit, who to date, not to date. I'm not the kind of sponsor going to have you call him every night. As a matter of fact, Dave, I'd really rather you don't. He says, I'm going to get you to God. And I'm going to get you to God quick. I'm going to get you to God now. Because David, when it comes right down to it, he said, you got one singular soul problem walking in here. You know what it is? You are lacking power. You're missing out on the power. And I'm going to show you how to find one that's bigger than you. And that's what our job is. And then you know what he did, guys? He turns this opens up this book. He turns to page 44. And he points out a line that I've read 1,000 times and never once saw. Never saw it. Page 44. David, we suffer from an illness, he says. We suffer from an illness which only a spiritual experience will conquer. Guess I gotta give me one of them. Yeah, spiritual experience, I guess. Yeah, I do, yeah. And this thing about an illness. How is my drinking an illness? Huh? I'm just a guy who likes to get drunk every night. I work hard, I play hard, rah, rah, rah. The whole world, why aren't you joining me? And the illness, my drinking, how can it be an illness? And if it is an illness, how? Can I get a pill, please? If there was a spirituality pill out there, trust me, I'd take one. No, I take 2. 1 is good, 2 is great. Can I get 10, please? Let me get to the weird thing, you guys. You know what I'm talking about? By the end of the month, I'll be shooting my spirituality pill. You know how that's going to go. You got that down, right? Oh, yeah. Let's get it in, you know? Well, how about this, guys? If this is an illness, check me in the hospital, cut this thing called alcoholism out of me, and let me go home. It's called a wrap. So take care of it. That kind of illness. That's the kind of illness I'm looking for. 8 years ago, I had my gallbladder removed. Haven't thought about it since. You know, don't hang out with other gallbladder sufferers. You know, don't. Gallbladder's Anonymous. Read books about gallbladderism. They took it. It's gone. All done. Wrapped up. You know? But not here in Alcoholics Anonymous. Not if you're holding soul alcoholic, hopeless variety alcoholic. Not if you're the one the book talks about. Who wants the kind of illness that requires that we turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as its solution? Who wants the kind of illness that requires that we do searching and fearless moral inventories as its solution? Who wants the kind of illness that requires that we make amends and restitution to everyone we've harmed over the course of our entire lives as its solution? Or, God forbid, lay our lives down on a daily basis for our brothers and sisters sick and suffering as its solution? Daily basis. Not me. Show me an easier, softer way. I searched 12 years for an easier, softer way. I needed an easier, softer way. This is not going to work for me. How is this possibly going to solve my problem? You've got to be kidding me. You know, 100 men and women thought they could find an easier, softer way too, didn't they? They couldn't. Why? Because this is the easier, softer way. It's right here. Thank God I finally figured out. There's nothing to figure out. You know? So it's all been figured out for us. I just had to follow some directions. I didn't know that. Something else he put it on the same page, page 44. Dave, you're the whole of the soul, hopeless variety, real alcoholic, you only got two choices. Hey, it's like you're at a game show, Dave. Hey, behind door number 1, a life based upon spiritual principles. Behind door number 2, doom to an alcoholic death. And I'm like, ugh. Can I phone a friend out there? Someone help me with this, please, I come about to go choose the spiritual principles, Dave, I wonder just how bad an alcoholic death we're talking about anyway, you know what I mean? More info, Thank God for that guy. Thank God for that sponsor. Thank God for that man, armed with the facts about himself, experienced with these 12 steps of suggested program recovery that walked me out of the darkness. What was it like when I first got to you guys? I'll tell you what it was like. It's 1989. I'm 29 years old before I get to my first Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. On the outside, I look pretty good. On the outside, I'm practicing law up in the North Shore of Boston. Been into my career about 4 years at this point, working for a pretty prestigious law firm on the North Shore. If you meet me in a bar room, I'll tell you all about this. Give me 2 minutes. We'll get this right at you, you know what I mean? We'll point out my $50,000 sports car parked right outside the window so you can see it both from the bar and the pool table. Oh yeah, we're going to watch that. Go back to my 4-bedroom, 3-story brick townhouse in Medford outside of Boston. I wear $800 suits just to impress you. You'll see all this trappings of success all around me. But what you also would have seen had even known it existed, what you also would have seen had even known it was there, you would have seen a hole in the soul this wide. That all the drink, and all the cocaine, and all the glorious courtroom victories, shiny sports cars, beautiful townhouse, and silkiest suits in the world just couldn't seem to fill. I couldn't fill the hole. And at 29 years old, 4 years into my career, my bosses looked at me and said, either you get sober or you get out. And they called me a disgrace to my law firm. And I took issue with them. I argued on that point, Thanks to the help you guys gave me, the direction you guys gave me, the support and love you guys gave me walking down this path. Today I don't look at it that way. They were right. I see it for what they were right. I was a disgrace to my law firm. I was a disgrace to my profession. I was a disgrace to my family. And to be quite honest, I was a disgrace to myself. And the big kicker of it all, the biggest kicker of that all? I didn't mean to be. I didn't want to be. It just kept happening. And every time I kept happening, I promised and swore to myself I'd never let it happen again. And then it did. Oops, I did it again. And on it would go. So on July 5th, 1989, I jumped on a plane and flew to all places, Ephrata, Pennsylvania, wherever that might be, to a place called ARC The Terraces. And so began a 28-day journey at that place. And and I know, we heard our friend tonight read the preamble. If the only requirement for membership is to die and stop drinking, well, that's a wonderful thing. Except I didn't have one of them. I had 3 bosses who would desire I stop drinking. I don't know, maybe they should have gone. Who knows, but this wasn't going to work for me from the start. So began my journey, those 12 years, in and out, in and out, in and out. I look at those 12 years, I got to ask myself, what do I got to switch up this time around? What do I do a little different this time so I find a little success? Because obviously I wouldn't find that. Now I can give you a whole list of things I got to do different. I'm just going to zero in the first one, the one that I want to talk about tonight. Everyone in my world told me, Dave, you got a drinking problem. And for the sake of this conversation right here, right now, guys, let me just tell you this. I am talking about the drink, the drug, and all the things like it. They're on my table. But we're Alcoholics Anonymous. It's called simple. Let's keep it simple. Out of respect for AA, I had a drinking problem. Everyone in my world is telling me I got a drinking problem. My mom and dad, they're telling me I got a drinking problem. My brothers and sisters are telling me I got a drinking problem. The best friends in my life, most of whom are no longer in my life, are telling me I got a drinking problem. Clients, co-workers, bosses, everyone in my world is telling me I got a drinking problem. So you know what I decided to do? I was going to solve the problem. I'm going to take the drink out of the equation. Yeah, that's it. Quit drinking. Should solve the drinking problem? Quit drinking. I'm going to put the drink down. Solve the problem. Problem with that, I wasn't a problem drinker. I was an answer drinker. Life was the problem, guys. Drinking was the answer. It set me free. There was magic in that ball. You got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. I could have no sooner stepped away from that drink than I could have flown to the moon for what it was doing for me. You know what I mean? It was power, it was magic, and I needed it. I needed it. You guys got it all wrong. I had it all wrong. I had it all wrong. You guys, you don't take my drink away and just solve my problem. You see, guys, when you take my drink away, that's when the problems just begin. Now you just created the... Now what? Now what? I'm not coming over Friday, thanks. I'm not moving. I'm paralyzed now. Socially, paralyzed. Can't talk, speak, walk, move, paralyzed. You know what I mean? That drink set me free out there. And now I'm supposed to be okay without it. Didn't work that way for me, not at all. And I didn't cross some magical line years into my drinking and figure this out. That's the way it went from the rip, out of the gates. Can I take back to October 73 for 1 minute? No, October 1970, 13 years old, going off to a junior high school dance on a Friday night. 5, 6 friends of mine circled up in a little patch of woods in Reading, Massachusetts to get drunk for the first time. What a monumental night in my life. I'm still talking about it. October 73, you shitting me? I'm still talking. Ooh, I'm still talking about it. You know, seriously. I don't know the pain's precious problems. I don't know the fears, doubts, insecurities any 13-year-old kid might have had. I might have had a couple extra tossed my way. I was the goofiest looking kid you ever saw. Triple lens glasses, big nose, buck teeth, 6'1" by the age of 7. You know what I mean? Every class hat when it was me. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. This is 25 years and $25,000 later, and I'm not done yet. We got more to do. Can you relate? Yeah, you can. I believe we have the technology. Let's rebuild it. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. I was with my uncle a couple months ago. He said, he's goofing. I said, Uncle Paul, you got no right to goof on this face. I spent $25,000 on this face. He says, what happened, Dave? You run out of money? Give you 15 minutes in the woods that night. That's all it took. 15 minutes with that drink to my lips. And everything changed. Forever. Forever. I'm not saying the glasses didn't fall off, the nose didn't straighten, the teeth didn't drop an inch or two. You know what happened that night as best I can describe it? The fear went away. 15 minutes and the fear went away. I liked you guys better when I was drinking. I liked the world around me better when I was drinking. You know what, guys? I liked myself better. I was okay when I was drinking. I was fine when I was drinking. There was no issues or problems when I was drinking. And I couldn't, oh my God, I wish I found this in kindergarten. You kidding me? And I made a decision that night. I didn't even know I made it, but I did. I know I did. I made a decision that night. You know what I decided? I made a decision that night to make that drink the most important thing in my life. Oh yeah, this is important. This is very, very important. I made a decision to make that drink the most important thing in my life. And to keep it the most important thing in my life, I'm going to pay a lot of prices. Prices. My sponsor, there's no rights or wrongs, Dave. Forget about right or wrong. Knock the halo off your head. Life's just one big price tag. What price you willing to pay for your actions? The price that I paid for that, keeping that drink the most important thing in my life. My seat in Alcoholics Anonymous, this chair, you think this thing came free? Huge and heavy price tag hanging from this seat. Heartache, misery, loss, frustration, careers, jobs, friendships, the tears in my parents' eyes, my relationship with my brothers, my sisters, the ones I love. Hell, ultimately my freedom. That's on the price tag. I lost that along the way. How can I best describe it? How about this for an analogy? I'm 21 years old, walking to a liquor store downtown Boston. I'm on Doylestown Street. I walk to the back of the place, grab a 12-pack of Budweiser, walk up front, pop it down the counter. The guy looks at me, I look at him. He says, that'll cost you $14.95 in every real friendship you've ever had. I pay it. 31 years old, walking the bar. Like a shot in a beer, please. Bartender looks at me, I look at him. He says, that'll cost you $8 in your marriage. 41, I remember like it was yesterday for me. I was 41 years old. I walked into a liquor store downtown Boston, Tremont Street, my favorite spot. I walk up to the front counter, point to the top shelf, and say, like that fifth of tequila, please, the mezcal. Yes, 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 the one with the worm. He grabs the bottle, pops it down in front of me. I look at him, he looks at me and says, that'll cost you $17.95. And you're licensed to practice law in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. I'll take it, please. Could I have the bottle, please? I'll pay it. And I did. What'd you pay? What'd your seat cost you? Wasn't that bottle meant more to me in my career? Wasn't that bottle meant more to me in my friendships, my family, my freedom, everything on that list? I needed the bottle. You know? The prices we're willing to pay. Any freebies in here? Anyone hit the lottery, come to Alcoholics Anonymous, press on winning streak, take a seat? No, doesn't that way, huh? You get it, we get it, I get it. We all get it. The price we pay. Let me keep going. So I get through high school, get through college. Nothing but a 4-year blackout for me. Wish I could tell you more. My friends said we had fun. Yeah, reunions are great. I get to hear all about it, you know what I mean? I graduated 4 years later with a degree in economics and cocaine addiction. And off to law school I go. Busy, busy, busy. Things to do, you know what I mean? Get through law school 3 years running, in and out, passed the bar first time around. Now I'm 26, 7, 8, 9 years old. 3, 4 years into my career. And now the problem is the drink is catching up. Now during my school years, I stayed a step ahead of 2, barely. You know, unmanageability wasn't riddling and ruling everything then, but in 28, 29, it seemed to be that was now the case. The drink is now in control. I'm no longer able to do what I used to do out there. In the beginning, life was something I was doing, once in a while sprinkled around my drinking. Or drinking was something I was doing once in a while sprinkled around my lifetime. At 29 years old, life was something I was trying to do once in a while, sprinkled around my drinking. I couldn't show up. No one could. You couldn't depend on me. Work, family, friends, career. I was out of it. The drink was really ruling my life. Unmanageability was everywhere. I'm 29 years old and I'm a man who has lost the ability to control his drinking. I'm 29 years old and I live in a body that cannot take a drink safely and don't even know it. I'm 29 years old suffering from an allergy to alcohol I don't even know exists in my life as I pour a fifth of whatever came next down my throat every night. I'm 29 years old and I'm out of control. And that's when my boss has said to me, either you get sober or you get out. And so simply and solely to save that job, and for no other reason, I jumped on that plane and went out to Ephrata for 28 days. Now, I know when I got to Ephrata, there were a lot of God-inspired men and God-inspired women carrying a message of hope and a message of love and a message of recovery, and a message of 12 steps. They were carrying a message of God, and I was hearing none of it. None of it. Why? Because we have a principle here in Alcoholics Anonymous. You can't say the right thing to someone who's not ready to hear our message. You just can't say the right thing. You could have Dr. Bob to my left, Bill Wilson to my right, the Lois pouring coffee, and I wouldn't heard a thing out in Ephrata every day. You know what I mean? Thanks, Lois. Just wasn't ready. Just wasn't ready for this. By the same token, guys, don't forget, you can't say the right thing to someone who's not ready to hear our message, but you can't say the wrong thing to someone who is. Not when you're talking the language of the heart. Knowing the God in you touches the God in me, and the magic we call recovery happens when one alcoholic reaches out to another alcoholic for the sole purpose of recovery. That power, that magic, that electricity, indescribable unless you experience it. I can't begin to tell you what it's like until you experience it. How many times it happened? How many times the language of the heart? You're one-on-one with that gal. You're one-on-one with that guy. You're talking to that group, and all of a sudden someone comes out of your mouth you've never heard before. You never heard, you never read, never said it. Wow, that was good. Oh my God, I got to write that down. That was good. And 10 minutes later, you can't remember what you said. All the time, huh? If the language of the head, you remember it. If it's the language of the heart, you never will. It's God's words, not yours. He pulls them out when that person you're talking to, that guy, that gal, that group needs to hear what you're saying. He'll give you the words. And then he'll tuck it back in and pull them out 8 years later when you're talking to someone else who needs to hear that very same thing. That's how this works. You got to rely on that. You got to trust that. That's how this works. That's how we do what we do here, So I went out there for 28 days. Now I'm back in Boston 28 days later, and what am I doing now? I'm shouting from the hills, recovery, I'm in recovery. I'm not in it. I'm not. Tell you the truth now, I'm not in it, lying, I'm saying it because you're saying it, basically. That's what my program, you say it, I say it, that works. Woo, that was easy. That's an easy program. I can do that, you know what I mean? I'm talking to him, bumper stickers. Hey, Dave, want to go for coffee? Whoa, easy does it. I don't know. I'm stock raving, sober, in and out, maybe drunk, maybe sober. Truth was not part of my program either. That didn't really matter, you know what I mean? And so began that journey of the 12 years, in and out, in and out. Might stay sober a week, might stay sober a month, might stay sober a year, might stay 3 years. 3 years. I stayed sober in Alcoholics Anonymous at one point during that 12 years for 3 years straight. And I tell you this story because I think it's important. Let me tell you why. I'm going to fast forward for 1 minute. Let me take you to November 2001, my sobriety this time around. Okay? I'm 2 weeks sober, November 2001. I land in a place called the Miller House in Falmouth, Massachusetts on Cape Cod. I'm out there, first day there, I'm out back having a smoke. And I tell you this story because I firmly believe it's a classic example of God using us with or without our permission. God does not need our permission to use any one of us anytime He wants. Willing or unwilling, conscious or unconscious instruments of a power greater than ourselves. Guy's name was Joe. Counselor's aide, worked at the Miller House, came out back, met me for the first time having a cigarette, and he starts talking to me. And if Joe right here, right now, beside me, and I say, hey, Joe, remember that night at the Miller House we met for the first time out back having a smoke? And you said to me, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, guys, I bet you Joe probably said, I don't quite remember that, Dave. 13 years, 8 months, and a couple days later, guys, I'm still talking about it. Here's what he said. He said, you know, Dave, all you're doing here in Alcoholics Anonymous is just looking for one more day of sobriety. Just one more day of sobriety, and you think that's all we have to offer? Just one more day? And you're saying, and he says that you're taking no action, Dave. You're doing nothing and taking no action to change the man that you brought in. You're taking no action, Dave, to change the person you brought in. He goes, my God, Dave, isn't it just a matter of time? How long, he said, how long, Dave, can you hold your breath? Doing nothing to change the man, doing nothing to change the woman, doing nothing to change the person that you brought in. It's just a matter of time. How long can you hold your breath before you're going to pick a drink back up again? And the guy was right. 3 years. My experience says I could hold my breath in Alcoholics Anonymous, taking no action, no sponsor, no guidance, no God, no steps, nothing. Just fighting the fight, hanging in there, monkey on my back, shooting for midnight, sobriety. 3 years. I could do it 3 years, but not much longer. And what I do at the end of my 3 years, here's why I'm telling you the story. Because I did whatever you did this trip who relapsed. Whether you stayed sober a week, a month, a year, or a decade, you did what I did after your week, your month, a year, a decade. What I do after my 3 years, I made a sober decision. So did you. We made sober decisions to pick that drink back up again. Holding that drink in my hand that day, holding that drink in my hand that night, I did not have a drinking problem. Couldn't have. Hadn't touched one for 3 years. Don't tell me I had a drinking problem that night. I didn't. You know what my problem was that night? I'll tell you what my problem was that night. My problem that night was my sobriety. My ugly, miserable, untreated, I cannot stand it for another second sobriety, and my inability to live comfortably in it. I was solving the wrong problem again. Want to know the leading cause of relapse? I'll tell you what it is. Sobriety. Wow. It is. It is. I don't know about you, every time I drank, I couldn't stand being sober for another second. Whoa, let me take care of that. Oh, yeah. That's done, you know. And powerless? I was only going out for the weekend. Back Monday. Save my seat. I said that to someone. Back Monday. See you then. You know. And that weekend lasted 9 years. And during those 9 years, I will destroy and burn my life to the ground twice over. And everything good in it. You know? Because here's what that will look. You know what those 9 years look like? Here's what it looks like. I'll drink till I can stand that no more. Then I'll get sober till I can stand this no more. Then I'll get drunk. Then I'll get sober. Then I'll get drunk. Then I'll get sober. And before you know it, there goes another decade of my life. There goes another 10 years wasted and left in my path to wake and destruction a mile wide because I blow like a tornado through the lives of everyone who loves me and wake up maybe, yet again maybe, if I'm lucky, in another nut house wondering what happened. Where'd everybody go? I'm all alone again. I'm crawling out of this place yet again, trying to build something out of nothing, all by myself. And I'm getting tired. And I'm getting frustrated. I'm getting more and more hopeless, more and more desperate. And that's how it goes, you know. But this book gives us real simple directions, huh, guys, huh? We get direction out of this thing. Our stories disclose in a general way what we used to be like, what happened, and what we're like now. For me, in the end, it's November 2001. I'm a walking show of the man I used to be. I'm unemployed and unemployable again. This time my partners threw me out of the law firm. 6-figure income gone overnight. I'm trying to put a law practice together by day all by myself while I'm walking the streets of Boston at night, doing whatever came next to get a drink. My friends are gone. They're disgusted with me at this point. Want nothing to do with me. You know, tears in my parents' eyes on a nightly basis put there by my actions that I'm powerless over stopping. My mom and dad, they're not alcoholic, but they suffered from alcoholism. Mine. Brothers and sisters are wonderful people, are mad at me. They don't want to talk to me. I can't even go in their houses. I can't see my nieces and nephews. My younger sister, who I'm closer to than anyone in this world, a month before I get sober, looks at me and says, I don't even know who you are anymore. How does that happen? How do we do that? Every bit of potential, ambition, and drive I once had are gone. I can't even get out of bed unless there's a bottle or a pipe waiting for me. Honor and dignity are lost in the dust of my addiction. Morals and values are warped beyond any sense of recognition. My bottle's empty, my wallet's empty. My life's empty. I'm living, one might say, to drink. And when I drink like that, I got to live like that. And when I live like that, I got to drink like that. And on it goes. My last night out there was a Wednesday night, November 14, 2001. A night like any other for me. I caught an 8-ball, smoked it, banged back a fifth of tequila so I could forget about you and the rest of the world. And I closed some dive bar up in Lowell, Massachusetts. Like I closed every bar I've ever been in. What's up with that? Lights are flashing, Dave, you got to go. Every bar I've ever been in. Lights are flashing, Dave, you got to go. And this night was no different. She called me to the bar, said, finished up, Dave, I'm closing up, you got to head out. I took that drink, empty glass, I kicked that last sip down, I put that empty glass down the bar, having no idea that that would be my last drink to date. I didn't know that. Trust me, had I known that was going to be my last drink, guys, I would have ordered 2. Oh, one for the road. Long road, you know. I believe from that moment, that glass, empty glass, from that moment that it hit that bar, from that moment to this, right here, right now, I've been living a plan, not my own. I didn't chart the course of these last 13 years, design the destiny, plot the path. Some part of my life far, far, far greater than me got into action. To be quite honest, you can't get here from there. You just cannot get here from there without some divine power stepping in. And that happened for me. I went home that night, passed out, ready to just get up and do it all over again. But God had another plan. Here's what happened. That's what it was like. Here's what happened. On the morning of Thursday, November 15, 2001, my sobriety date, I woke up at 5:30 in the morning to a knock on the door, and like any other knock I've ever heard in my entire life, and on the other side of the door stood the FBI, the DEA, 2 state and 2 local looking for me. And my run was over. The end of a long, sad, heart-wrenching, and oftentimes quite despicable run was over. What happened that morning was I was one of 38 men arrested from Miami to Boston. 38 of us were picked up in that federal sweep that morning. 17 of the 38 were living in Boston. I was one of the 17. Next thing you know, I'm standing in front of the United States Federal District Court, downtown Boston, Oakley Building on the waterfront. A whole other world. That federal court, whoo, whole another world. We're not in Doylestown District anymore. Yeah, no. It's a whole another world, you know. And I'm standing in front of the United States Federal District Court Judge Mark Wolf. And Judge Wolf is looking down on us, 17 of us, and telling us the charges, check it out, the charges, conspiracy to possess and distribute 500 kilograms of cocaine. Kilograms. I buy 8 balls. You got the wrong guy. This is all wrong. Kilograms, seriously. Let me see one. Can I see one? Oh, let me touch one for a second. Before we go, Judge, let me look at one, you know? I got 8 Colombians to my left, 8 Colombians to my right. There's Dave Perry in the middle. It's like, what happened here, you know? This is all wrong. Oh, so wrong, you know? The sad part is Judge Wolf is looking at us and telling us these charges, if convicted, carry 10 to life. And the reality of the matter is none of us are going home on bail. No bail. And if you were standing next to me that morning, shackled at my ankles, waist, and wrists to 16 strangers, with your dad in the back row of the courtroom, devastated and in tears, asking himself where he went wrong with his son, the attorney, I would have told you this is the worst day of my life. The undisputed, bar none, worst day of my life. But I don't quite see it that way anymore. I grabbed up my friends this morning and drove out to Doylestown to tell you guys I don't quite see it that way anymore. As a matter of fact, I'm here to report to you that I believe with every cell in my body, without 1 ounce of reservation, I believe God sent those men for me. He had a plan with my name on it. He had it for a long time. He's got with all you. I'm not unique here, by the way. We all got him. Plan with every one of your names, too. Problem was, every time God wanted to kick that plan into action, I kept getting in the way. You know? He had to catch my attention. Sent the FBI for me. I don't know what do you do for you guys. I know. FBI, that's an attention grabber. Yes, it is. Yes, it is, you know. I know when the worst day of my life was. I'll tell you when the worst day of my life was, exactly when it was. Saturday, November 17th, 2001. 2 days later. 50 years to the day my mom and dad were married, and 50 years to the day we're celebrating their wedding anniversary back in Reading. Now, the fact that I'm not at this wedding anniversary, this family event, does not make this the worst day of my life. I miss family events along the way. This is nothing new, you know what I mean? The fact that I'm calling this the worst day of my life is this. I'm in a place called Plymouth County Correctional Facility in Plymouth, Massachusetts. Oh, you know that place, Nick? Oh, yeah. Nick is relating. Yeah. Plymouth, yeah. I'm in a room, though, 10 times the size of this. 80 bunk beds spread across the place. They call it New Man. They're going to put us in cells in a couple days. I'm sitting on top of my bunk with 79 strangers frolicking around me, it seemed. And what I'm doing is I'm staring at the wall. And what I'm looking at is the payphone. And I'm realizing, you guys, for the first time in my life, if I want to get up, walk across that room, and pick up that receiver, I got no one left. I got no one left. I can't think of the name of one single solitary person left in my world who wants to hear my voice on the other end of that phone and have anything to say back to me. How microscopically small my world had become, and realized it. That moment. And you guys, that's my bottom. I found it. I don't want to let it dip any deeper, drop any lower, slide any further. I got it. I was in Baltimore about 9-10 years ago. I heard a woman take a podium. 400 of us in the room. 400. She was talking to me. You know what she said? She asked the question. She said, "Hey, have you found that place in your world where you got no place left to go but to God? Are you there yet? Have you realized that there's no human power on earth that's going to relieve us of our out? None. Our job is one thing. Our job only. We need to find a power bigger than us. Period. That's it." I don't know what my prayer was. That, "Oh God, what's wrong with me?" That's a prayer. That's a prayer. And it got answered. 6 days later, pulled out of that cell, back before Judge Wolf, Federal District Court. "I am here but for the grace of God and the compassion of the federal government. They gave me a chance to find my recovery by putting me in the Federal Pretrial Services Division and get some treatment to get better, if I wanted it. The charges weren't going away, but they give me a chance to fix my broken life, if I take it." And so began the journey. 10 days in a detox, 4.5 months at the Miller House, back to Boston to a halfway house, on to a sober house. And for the first 8 months of my sobriety, just like those 12 years in and out, to be honest, miserable sobriety, sentenced sobriety, sentenced to Alcoholics Anonymous all over again, looking around saying, "My God, what happened to my world? It was good once, what happened?" The only thing keep me sober during those first 8 months, one thing and one thing only: fear. You see, if I picked up a drink, the federal marshals are picking me up, and I'm going back to Plymouth, so I'm afraid. But fear is not our solution here. The temporary fix, but it's not our solution. Fear will not keep you sober and will not find you recovery out of fear. But God had another plan, another miracle in my life, July 21st, 2002. I'm 8 months sober. Here's what happened. An old friend of mine back in the 90s who stayed sober throughout that whole period of time when I was going in and out, he stayed sober. In 1997, my friend Steve, some of you know him in this room, my buddy Steve, 8 years sober, stark raving sober, out of his mind sober, no sobriety, no recovery, no steps, no sponsor, no God, no program, but sober. Gets sick in Boston, had to move to Baltimore to be with his family, needed help. He gets down to Baltimore in 97, and he heads out to a meeting in a little town called Elkton, Maryland. And that night in Elkton, Maryland, a man took the podium by the name of Tom Flynn. The late, great, and absolutely wonderful Tom Flynn. An absolute giant in Alcoholics Anonymous. Touched the lives of tens of thousands of men and women during his lifetime. Tom got up there and spoke from the heart like he always does, the language of the heart. And he carried a message of depth and weight that my friend Steve never quite heard said that way. Steve went up to Tom at the end. "Tom, I've never heard anyone talk and say it the way you're saying. What are you doing? Show me what you're doing. I'm 8 years out of my mind. Show me what you're doing." And that's like my friend Steve turned his ugly, miserable sobriety into recovery and started walking down this path. I don't know this is going on. I'm back in Boston with a bottle and a pipe in my hand, paying no attention to Steve. But he was paying attention to me, calling my sisters, making sure I wasn't showing up dead. And when he heard about the arrest, the fact that I was in treatment, he calls me. Check it out, guys. Here's what he said. "Hey, Dave, my sister's got a place up at Lake Winnipesaukee in New Hampshire for a week. I'm going to take 3 days off. It's all I get from work. But I'm taking 3 days off. I'm flying into Logan to go see her. I'm coming into Logan Airport in Boston on Sunday morning, July 21st, 2002. Want to go?" seconds and inches, huh, guys? How our lives can change in seconds and inches. What if I said no, didn't feel like it? What if I didn't have time? What if I didn't want to? I guarantee, had any of those been the case, I would not be sharing my story with you tonight. Guarantee it. I thought it was just a little vacation up in New Hampshire, 3 days by the lake with an old friend. I had no idea God was sending me my sponsor. He gets in my car, 9 o'clock Sunday morning. He gets in my car, and I'm looking at this guy. He looks different, sounds different, acts different. He's inexplicably different. Fresh skin and glowing, something about this guy's eyes. The exact same experience Bill Wilson describes at the end of that bleak November 1934, whenever he came to dinner, is exactly what was going on in my car that morning. You know? And this guy gave me the greatest hope. Within 15 minutes, he gave me the greatest gift that one alcoholic can give another. He gave me a little bit of hope. Hope, so I was hopeless. I needed a little hope that maybe, just maybe, I could get what he had. Hope that maybe, just maybe, I could feel like he felt. Hope that maybe, just maybe, I could get set free. He was set free. You guys, he talked about this big book like the thing had a heartbeat. He talked about God like he just came from having lunch with the guy, you know what I mean? It was powerful, it was attractive, and I wanted it, you know? I said, you know, you talking about these steps, Steve? You talking about these steps? I go, when do I start these steps? He goes, when do you want to recover, Dave? When do you want to recover? When do you want the pain to stop? And I'm talking recovery. I'm not talking sobriety. I'm talking recovery. Hell, I can tie you to a tree, you'll get sober. You want some recovery? Want me to show you how to do that? I go, but Steve, only 8 months. Should I wait a little early, don't you think? He goes, where are you getting this weight? Where are you getting it? Nowhere in our history, nowhere in our literature, nowhere in our big book, nowhere in alcohol, nowhere does it say you need to wait. As a matter of fact, it says just the opposite. If you decide you want what we have and you're willing to go to Wayne Lake to get it, you're ready. You're ready. You're ready now. I don't care if you're throwing up in your last drink. Wipe off your mouth, kid. Let's go. Let's get started here. I go, but my God, 8 months, what did I make a mistake? He goes, make a mistake? How long did you drink for, Dave? I said, 30 years. So he's a little late to worry about a mistake, don't you think? Come on, man. How long are you going to let your half measures avail you nothing? I see 12 years of half measures. What are you showing? How long are you going to your ideas? Your old ideas are killing you, Dave. They're killing you. He says, when I get a new man, I get him in the steps now. Why? Because it's easy to move wet cement. Don't let it harden. Then you need a jackhammer, you know what I mean? Let's go. You wet cement, move it. Let's do it now. You can't wait any longer. How long, Dave? How many times are you going to come and stand in the turning point just to word, turn around and walk away like you've done so many times, man? Hey, Dave, how long are you going to come to a 12-step program and ignore the 12 steps? 12 years in my case, my lucky number, you know what I mean? I said, I see what you're saying, Steve. You heard my story, man. You know what's going on. I got real life problems here. I got federal charges hanging on my head that carry a potential of 10 to life. You know, I'm going to be disbarred from the practice of law. It's coming. I don't have a cent left in the bank. I've been unemployed will yet again. I'm living in a sober house 2 blocks around the corner from the courthouse I used to practice in. I go, I don't get a cent left in the bank. The IRS is chasing me. I don't have a friend left in the world. My family's in tears. My God, Steve, I got real life problems. This guy's coming to me with prayers and inventories. I'm looking for lawyers and loans, you know what I mean? I got real problems out there. This is not going to do it. How do you think that, you know? He goes, I get it, Dave. I get it. I hear you, man. I hear you. Let me say this to you. I see what you're saying. You got walls up everywhere. Walls up between you and your family. Walls up between you and your friends. Walls up between you and your finances. Walls up between you and your career. Walls up between you and the law. You got walls up everywhere. But here's what I'm going to tell you. Hear me right now. Here's what the thing is. I'm going to promise you that if you just walk down this path with me, you start taking these actions you don't agree or understand, you believe will work in your life. You just start walking down this path and taking these actions and letting God do for you what you cannot do for yourself. I'm going to promise you that one by one, every one of those walls are going to come crashing down. And the most amazing thing of it all is, Dave, you have nothing to do with it. I'm going to show you a way that you can stay about God's business and let God take care of yours. And that you got to be kidding me. Give me something real. Give me something I can see, feel, touch here, Steve. These are real problems. I need a real solution. He goes, David, I'm promising you, this is real. And I'm here tonight to report to you guys, everything that man promised me that morning came true. He was spot on with every bit of it. But I looked at him then, I said, hey, when Steve, you're talking about these steps, I don't understand these steps, I don't agree with these steps, I didn't believe they're going to work. How do you do these steps if you don't understand them? How do you do these steps if you don't agree with them? How, guys, do you do these steps if you don't believe they're going to work in your life? He says, David, you don't have to understand them to make them work. You don't agree they're going to work to make them work. You don't have to believe they're going to work to make them work. Oh, then how do you do them? He says, all you have to do is simply become willing to follow a person who's already done them. He said the greatest promise is on page 58. Rarely have we seen a person fail who was thoroughly followed. Can you walk down this path? Can you stay 3 feet behind me down the path? You don't got to say what I say. You don't got to think what I think. But if you do what I do, Dave, you got to get what I got. This is a program of action. Your recovery's not in your head. It's not what you think. It's not what you hear. It's not what you see. It's not what you say. It's not what you read. It's not what you study. It's all about what you do. In your case, Dave, what you've never done. There's a whole bunch of actions here that we take that you've never taken. Let me show you, not tell you. Let me show you how to take them. Walk down this path. Stay 3 feet behind me. Can you do that? And that's the day I turned my ugly, miserable sobriety into recovery. And I'm here to report to you Sunday morning, July 21st, 2002. Immediate action got me immediate results. And that's the same will happen for you. By 3 that afternoon, we're pulling to the side of the road up by the lake, up in New Hampshire. We're pulling the car to the side of the road. I'm getting out and I'm turning to page 63 and I'm taking the third step. The most powerfully life-changing prayer I've ever said in my entire world is on page 63 of the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. I had no idea the impact of my life it had on me then. I'm telling you, I do today. The day I became an agent of God. That's all we are, guys. Secret agents of God. You know? Whoa! You know, up and away. You know how that goes. How about the 5 words? The 5 words that changed my life. On page 63 of the Big Book. We had a new employer. Think about that. I have a new employer. Now again, I didn't know it then, what it meant in my life. I do today. I got a new boss. I got a new job. I got new job duties that go with that boss and that job. My boss is God. I work for him today. I offered myself to him to build with me and do with me whatever he wanted. I showed up. I show up like I do every day. I got on my knees this morning like I do every day, praying only for the knowledge of his will for us, the power to carry it out. God, I'm punching in. Showing up for work. What's on my to-do list today, God? What would you have me do today? And this morning was no different. Praying only for the knowledge he told me. He says, Dave, get up, get that car, grab up Pete, Chris, get Nick, jump in my car and drive out to Pennsylvania, get to Doylestown, and hook up with my kids tonight. Carry my message tonight. I said, God, I could do that. I'll show up. I'll do that, God. I'll show up. What do you want me to tell him when I get there? He says, I'll tell you when you get there. You just have to show up. All right? Dave, the showing up business, message delivery bit, my message, not yours, Dave. By the time you get there, if I tell you now, by the time you get there, it'll be the Dave Perry story, and I'll have nothing to do with it, you know? You'll twist it, you know? Wait till you get there. Did the third step prayer. 3 that afternoon. Got back in the car, said to my sponsor, woo, third step done, third step done. Let's get some dinner. He goes, no, let's get a notebook. Drove me to a country store, made me go and buy a notebook and a pen, and I started writing the 4th step right there. Resentment, fear, sex, conduct, I had withheld nothing. 3 hours later, I was done. Now, some guys will say, you can't do a 4th step in 3 hours. Well, color me wrong, but color me recovered. Worked. Yeah, I did. I spent the next 2 days, reading my sponsor, my 5th step. Problem is now we're back at Logan. Our 3 days are up. I go, whoa. How are you going to sponsor me from Boston to Baltimore? How are you going to do that? Don't you have to pick me up, give me rides, lend me money, buy me cigarettes? How are you going to do that from Boston to Baltimore? I am getting gypped. You know what he said? He takes the book. He slides it under my arm. He hugs me. And he whispers 2 words in my ear. Standing outside the Travelers Airline at Logan Airport. He says, Dave, trust God. We can do this. We have planes, trains, and all. We have telephones, Dave. We could do this. You see, Dave, you've had it wrong for so long. You've had it so wrong for so long. You think you have to get your life in order before you can get out there and help God's other kids? Wrong. You got to get out there and help God's other kids now in order to get your life in order. Now. You got 1 day of sobriety? Sure, the guy with no days, how you got 1. You got a week? Sure, the guy over there with 2 days, how you got 7. 4 weeks, we got 2 over here. Listen, I'm not saying don't take it through the steps yet if you haven't been. Wait on that, you know. But my God, can you reach your hand out there? Can you meet her tomorrow for a coffee and bring her out with you tomorrow night? Can you have them over for lunch, for dinner? Can you do it now? You say, you want to get to know God? Get to know His kids. Hang with His kids. Run with His kids. Reach out to help His other kids. And you're going to see God and feel God and hear God in a place you never saw, felt, and heard Him before. Right there, I can see Him in your eyes. That's how it works. That's how it works, you know, and so it began. You know, we did the rest of the steps over the phone. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 over the phone. A man armed with the facts about himself and experience with the 12 steps, we did them over the phone. And guess what happened? 3 weeks. 3 weeks. That's it. Guess what happened? I started to get that spiritual awakening. You know, the one that we suffer on hills, only a spiritual awakening the spiritual experience will conquer. Started to get it. Having had a spiritual awakening is the result. Started happening. The spirit that was so dead when I got here, flatlined dead in that courtroom that day, shackled at the ankles, waist, and wrists to 17 strangers, that spirit that was so dead, flatlined dead that day, started to come alive and awake. Not by what I said, read, heard, or studied, but rather what I started to do. I started to move my feet. I started to help people when I didn't think I could help them at all. You know? And it started to happen. My sponsor reminded me, every day is a day. Every day is a day we carry the vision of God's will in all. Every day. I don't stay clean on yesterday's shower. I don't stay fed on yesterday's meal. I'm not staying physically fit on yesterday's workout at the gym. And I'm not going to stay spiritually fit on yesterday's action. If I want it today, I got to do it today. And it's just that simple. This is not a program for lazy people. There are things to do. If you want recovery, if you want to be spiritually fit and set free, there's things to do every day. Whether you want a little or a lot, it's up to you what you want to do, but there's something to do every day. You know? But here's the kick, here's the beauty of that. When I do a little bit every day or a lot every day, no matter what it may be, I get to stay spiritually fit. And guys, when I'm spiritually fit, there's nothing for a drink to fix. And I ain't looking. And I'm okay. You know? And the most amazing miracle that I'm here to report to you, somewhere along the way, my obsession to drink and drug, bar none, the most powerfully destructive force in my life, has been removed. It's gone tonight. It's gone. It does not exist. I'm not here tonight fighting the fight. I'm not here tonight hanging in. I'm not here tonight monkeying. I am not shooting for midnight. I've been set free. How is that possible? And when did it happen? What day? What day? Somewhere between July 21st, 2002, and here we are, what is today? July 25th, 2015. Somewhere in that time span, I woke up one morning and it was gone. Now, I can't tell you what day. I cannot tell you, pinpoint, or even come close to telling you when. Why? I had nothing to do with it. He promised, my sponsor promised, I'm going to show you a way to stay about God's business, let Him take care of yours. And one day when I was out there working for God and helping His other kids, I wasn't looking. He took it. And because I keep moving my feet daily, it hasn't come back. And that's how this thing works. 12-step. 3 weeks into it. He's got me on the phone. Okay? He's got me on the phone. He's in Baltimore. I'm in Boston. Okay, Dave, what are you doing tonight? I said, I'm going out to a meeting. Okay, where are you going? I'm going down Newbury Street. He goes, you want a little direction? I go, hit me up, Steve. Hit me up. I swear, to this day when this man speaks, I still listen. I still want what he's got. He gets me on the phone that night. I'm 3 weeks into it. You going out tonight? I go, yep. Downtown? Yep. To a meeting? Yep. Okay, here's what I want you to do tonight. Here's your directions, Dave. Here's what it is. Tonight when you walk into that meeting, instead of you walking into that meeting looking to see what you can take, because God knows you've been taking all your life, how about you walk in that meeting and start looking to see what you can bring? Because I want you to find that new guy in the corner who's all by himself and let him know he never has to be alone again. Find that woman, second row, third seat in, shaking away, and let her know she never, ever, ever has to feel that way again. Because I want you to start talking about recovery. I want you to start talking about these steps. I want you to talk about what we do for these last 3 weeks. You know what I want you to do tonight, Dave? You know what I want you to do? I want you to go to that meeting. I don't want you walking out till you find a man to sponsor. I go, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding. You're down in Baltimore for 8 years, a big book in your hand, and Tom Flynn next to you. I'm all by myself with 8 crazy in my sober house going like crazy, you know what I mean? I'm not ready for this, Steve. I can't say it like you say. I don't know it like you know it. I'm not ready for this. I'm not qualified. He says, David, I know you're not qualified, and you know you're not qualified. But that new guy in the corner's got no clue you're not qualified. Now get over there and help him. The guy's right. He's got no clue. I got no clue. You know, I got no clue. You know what I got? I got my hand out. And that's all he sees. And the bottom line is, I am no more qualified than anyone in this room right here, right now, to carry this message. I'm no more qualified than Nick with a couple of weeks, my buddy with his 13 years. I'm no more qualified than my sponsor with his 26 years, or my grand sponsor with his 108 years, or whatever that white hair guy had. I don't know. I am no more qualified than any one of these people at any given time to carry this message, because God does not look for qualified men and qualified women to carry His message. He looks for the willing. Are you willing? Are you willing? Well, like Tom says to me so many times while he was alive, Dave, are you a faithful trustee of the gift? Or did you got the busies? You got the busies, huh, Dave? You got the busies. What's it? You're so damn busy. You're chasing the money, the property, the prestige. You had those before. They fill the hole. He said, besides, Dave, I saw when you got out of detox. You didn't look too busy to me that day. Let's go, you know? He's like, all day long out of detox, nothing to do, you know what I mean? Oh. And I haven't looked back since. I've been doing what I did that day. I'm doing it to this day still. Just doing what I was told to do, taught to do, showed to do, told on to my recovery. I've been sober 13 years. In my 13 years of recovery, in my 13 years of sobriety, I've sponsored over 200 men with a 100% success rate. Some of them are drinking, some of them are dead. But I've been happily, joyfully sober for these 13 years, and I call that 100% success. Are you in a dark place drinking tonight? Welcome. Are you in a dark place sober tonight? Welcome. I know both. We can walk you out of the darkness into the sunlight. We can show you, we have a solution. The victory's already happened. June 10th, 1935, two strangers, kitchen table, Akron, Ohio, one alcoholic reached out to another for the sole purpose of recovery. It's going on then like it is right here, right now. 80 years later, the same conversation's happening in this minute, this moment, in this very room, right here, right now. And the only decision you need to make, if you haven't made it already, is whether you want to experience, partake, and become a miracle in your own life. The same way it's happening for millions and millions of us. I know many people in this room. They're shining with the message of hope and the message of recovery and the message of God. We don't know who you are all the time. Tell us. Our lives depend upon helping you. That's how this works. The miracles, I know I'm getting over the hour mark for me. Just give me 2 more minutes now. I'll land the plane. Miracles? My God. We don't get a monopoly on them, but we sure get our fair share in here, don't we? Let me tell you about mine in just a minute. November 15, 2001, I stood before Judge Mark Wolf in the Federal District Court downtown Boston for arraignment that day on those charges. 2 years later, I'm back before him for a second time, October 22nd, 2003. This day, I'm before the judge for sentencing. I pled guilty to the charges because I was guilty of the charges. Rocket science there, you know what I mean? They got an attorney to figure that out, yeah. My involvement in that conspiracy, my participation level brought a landing in the federal guidelines, sentencing guidelines, anywhere from 0 to 30 months. I could have gotten either anywhere from 0 to 2.5 years in prison. And the man handling it for the United States for the United States government was a man by the name of Assistant U.S. Attorney Patrick Hamilton. Mr. Hamilton, I have great respect for this man. I did then, I still do. Didn't like what he had to say, but I respected him. And he came in that courthouse that morning ready to ask Judge Wolf to sentence me to the 30 months. He wanted the maximum for my participation. And after all got said and done in that courtroom that day, through whatever miracles happened between the moment he walked in at 8:30 and the time I got sentenced at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Judge Wolf looked up from his bench and basically told him, not today. Not today, Mr. Hamilton. Judging by this stack of letters and the 40 people standing behind Mr. Perry in this courtroom today, it would appear to me that he's having some sort of an impact on the recovery community here in Boston. It only makes sense we leave him on the street doing what he's doing. I got 5 years probation.
Wow.
4 months later, the Massachusetts Bar Association took my license to practice. Rightly so. I broke the rules. I dishonored my profession. Remember I told you one by one, my sponsor promised me those walls would come down? If I was here 8 months ago, I have to tell you that there's still one wall standing. But tonight I get to tell you differently. On December 18, 2014, a little over 8 months ago, I got called back before Judge Wolf for the 3rd time. Same place, same room, courtroom 10, 5th floor, U.S. District Court, downtown Boston. This time Judge Wolf had me there with my entire family to swear me back into practice. I got reinstated. You know? my sponsor. You know, arraigned November 15, 2001 before that judge, sentenced 2 years later in October 2003, sworn back in December 2014. You can't make this shit up. You just can't make it up. And I'll tell you the greatest miracle I'll tell you about. Remember I told you that worst day of my life? November 17, 50 years today, my mom and dad were married, and 50 years today we celebrate their wedding anniversary. In a couple months we're going to celebrate their 64th. And I've been beside them every step of the way. Honoring and serving. Showing up. God's kids, they don't have to be alcoholic for us to serve. It doesn't work just in here. We carry it outside too. So, that's how this goes. Now, I gotta sit down. I'd love to talk to you all night. I heard a girl say one time when she was done speaking, she goes, "Oh, I have to stop now, sad face." I feel the same way. Sad face. I wrote a little something that I want to share with you as I sit down. My friends laugh because I'll tell you I wrote this for you. And I did. He's laughing now. I knew he would. All right, I wrote it with you in mind. He keeps me so honest. Front row honest. I just can't stand it. Oh. It goes like this. So how can I now bring this talk to a close? This tumultuous tale of my highs and my lows. This heartfelt rendition of a life that once was, destroyed by the things that a man like me does. Lost and alone, broken, bloody, and beat. Near death, but unwilling to admit my defeat. With my bottle near empty and unsure what to do, God picked me up, and He brought me to you. And what did you do on that day I arrived, fresh from a nightmare I'd barely survived? You dusted me off without making a fuss and said, "Welcome home, Dave. Just stay here with us." And so started that journey from darkness to light. From that pitch black existence, your hope gave me sight. Once placed in your arms and touched by your heart came that moment of grace when recovery starts. So now it's my turn. I must now do the same. And though your face unfamiliar, though I know not your name, I know all about you. The gaze in your eyes. We felt the same heartache. We lived the same lives. So come, take our hands as we reach out to you. For as children of God, it's what we must do. It's what we must do, for in here we've been taught. To keep what we're given, we give away what we got. So what have we got that we've come here to give? We come here to share the new lives that we live. There's miracles happening right here and right now. And the reason we've come here is to just show you how the hopeless find hope. How the blind get to see. How slaves to the drink are finally set free. How couples once split and how families once torn get brought back together. How lives are reborn. If hope's what you're seeking, and life needs to change, and this world that we speak of seems distant and strange, I'm asking, no begging, please hear what I say. This new life we offer can be yours today. And to the sick and the suffering in this room here tonight, there's hope and salvation to your left and your right. For I stand now before you quite remarkably sure that there's no group of people whom I respect more. There's a power we found that's both higher and real. Having once been without it, we know how you feel. New freedom awaits you. Please don't settle for less. Let us help you find it. Good night. God bless.
Amazing. It's customary to thank the speaker and take a chance to say hi to him afterwards. We give him a loud round of applause. Next week we have Mark Anderson from Bowie, Maryland, and please no smoking on the church property. That's the only thing they ask, and we usually head over to Perkins if you guys are interested. Everybody's welcome to come. We've got a nice way of closing. Again, thank you all.